bruh, bruh, bruh. Well, hey there, everybody. It is one last Steam Winter Sale 2024 video. This time the games are at their cheapest. These are the under $1. How much game can you get for under $1? Well, in my world, quite a bit. Quite a bit. Let's start off with a perennial favorite. 12 is better than 6. That's right. This is one of those games where, unfortunately, the video does not actually show you gameplay footage. So basically, this is like a pen and ink Hotline Miami set in the Old West. Pretty much. It is a top-down shooter, and you basically start off escaping from a mine where you are being exploited, and then once you make your escape, then everybody's trying to kill you, and you gotta get away as best as you can. You can use stealth, or you can use I don't know, eventually crazy weaponry. So yeah, this game goes pretty hard. It's a fun one. It is 99 cents at 90% off. Yeah, so there you go. 8-Bit Boy. 8-Bit Boy is a loving tribute to 8-bit games, to 8-bit platformers specifically, and this one has a lot of nods to classic platformers that you already know and love. Oh, why did he go red shirt to green shirt? That's interesting. Yeah, as are the trajectories of these projectiles. It rather reminds one of Italian plumbers. Anyway, but yes, this game is a loving tribute to the classic platformers that you already know and love, and it plays pretty darned well in its own right, and is a decent amount of fun for 90 cents, 87% off. There you go. Barro GT. Now, all of the Barro games are on sale when the Steam sale comes around, and there are many of them. If you want to watch my full breakdown of all, here, give me to some gameplay footage, my guy, if you don't mind. Gee whiz. Anyway, but all of the Barro games, these are fun little racers, and Barro GT has the most tracks, the most cars, the most variety, and the best controls, the best everything. So if you want to play the best that the Barro world has to offer, I would suggest starting here at Barro GT. And the beautiful thing about these games, 49 cents, 90% off. That's right. And so the other Barro games will be equally as cheap, and you can pick those up, but I would suggest starting here, seeing if you like this type of, blocky, colorful, but fun racing. I happen to like it quite a bit, and that's why I did a whole rundown on all of the things. Boneless Zombie. Oh, yeah. This one is exactly what the title tells you it is. You are a young guy who gets all your bones stolen, and when you get turned into a zombie by a nefarious evil scientist. And your girlfriend still loves you for some reason. In spite of bone loss and zombification. It's pretty out there in terms of plot. Anyway, but the fun thing about this game is that it is a stupidly fun broken physics type game. There are a lot of broken physics type games out there in the world, and this one just happens to be a personal favorite, where learning how to maneuver in this world without bones is a challenge unto itself, but a very fun one to take on. I rather enjoy it. And so this one is 99 cents at 80% off. Oh, come on, obey the fist. You're giving me no love this whole time. Yeah. We shall see. Braveland. I loves me some Braveland. I've already suggested the Braveland Wizard and the Braveland Pirates. This is the original base game. It is adorable turn-based combat in a very, very solid gaming system that basically they just figured out, like, we built a really cool gaming system and we could just use this engine to run any variety of, wizards, pirates, whatever. And yeah, it all started with this game, and it's just super well balanced. I really, really like the way that this one plays. It never feels unfair, but it also never feels too insanely easy. It's a, like I say, decently well balanced strategy RPG, turn-based, tactical-wise. 90% off at 99 cents. Not even this one? My guy, it's funny because he is very, very good at warning me off of certain types of games, but other types of games he does not like, even though I love him. Carnal. This is an old school boomer shooter, very similar to Doom. You will notice the resemblance. It is very violent and very crazy and a whole lot of fun. And so, yeah, it plays very similarly to all of the good old shooters from back in the day, from the 1990s that you remember. And this one is really, really just as good as some of the shooters that I remember playing back in the day. I mean, I'm not going to argue that, like, it's as good as Doom, but certainly it's no slouch. It is very fun and very cool and interesting and fun to play, and the weapons get pretty nutso as you go along. And so, yeah, it's a good one to pick up, especially if you like boomer shooters, and it's 49 cents at 51% off. Caveblazers. I am perpetually championing this game because I feel like this is the Spelunky that time forgot. Because this is, yes, another mining-themed roguelike adventure that is a whole lot of fun and has a very silly sense of humor, and there's a whole lot of exploring to do. There are so many different enemy types and so many different ways to die, but there's a lot of fun to be had in this game. I have put a lot of time into it. I enjoy it quite a bit, and I can't believe that it's always so cheap, because I seem to be one of the only people who loves this one. So that's why I'm always championing it and telling you that it's very fun. It is 92% off at 79 cents. Chimpology. This is for me and like one other guy. And that other guy already has it, but I don't mind if there's another guy who's going to get this and understand that it's fun and funny. Basically, you're routing web traffic. You are a trained chimp, and your whole thing is you have a 2-button keyboard with a 1 and a 0, and you have to type out the binary code that then loads pictures the way that they used to load, like line by line in the early days of the internet. Yeah, I like a lot of stuff from the early days of the internet because, very formative time for me. And if you are very much like that, you might enjoy this one too. It's very silly. Yeah, you got your 0 and your 1, and you're just typing these things out and making the pictures appear. And it's a very simple concept, and it seems almost dumb in the way that it's put together. But I'm telling you, it is fun. It's a very fun pick. Oh, naughty pictures. I shouldn't be showing that. But it's a very fun pick them up, put them down sort of a game. Oh, and it's got multiplayer. Do you think you're better at putting 1s and 0s in than your friends? Possibly. Anyway, this one, 77 cents at 61% off. Quick thing. There is no category that has seen more damage from this year's, woes in the gaming industry than the under $1. Normally, I am having serious problems culling games, serious problems deciding which ones to leave out. This time, everything's a little more expensive in this category, and a lot of things that are normally on sale aren't. But there's always Cthulhu Saves the World, and this game is, I made reference to it before, it's made by the same people, Zeboyd Games, who made Cosmic Star Heroine. These guys know their RPGs. And so this one and Breath of Death 7, it is a 2-pack. You get 2 games for the price of 1, and they are old school RPGs in every sense of the word. I know they look like they might have been built with some sort of RPG maker. Not so. They actually made this engine themselves. They take this stuff very seriously. They are all about making quality RPGs, albeit silly ones, except for Cosmic Star Heroine, which is just excellent. Anyway, so Cthulhu Saves the World sells with Breath of Death 7, which is a little more, shall we say, Dragon Warrior-ish, and the Cthulhu Saves the World is a little more, what to compare it to, Final Fantasy-ish. So there is a little bit of variety in the type of games that you're getting, but you're getting 2 quality RPGs for 59 cents at 80% off. Normally it's 90% off and you get them for 49 cents. And I know that I'm splitting hairs here, but yeah, things used to be a lot cheaper. Defunct is a really, this is graphically one of the more beautiful games that you're going to see in this under $1 category. But this is a very fun racing game, and it's based on gravity. And so what you're doing with your little one-wheeled robot here, and yeah, the sense of speed is really, really remarkable in this game. But yeah, basically you have a gravity, I don't know what to call it, basically a gravity module that if you time it right, if you hit the gravity on the downhills and then release it on the uphills, you will pick up some serious speed, and then you can do tricks and roll off all sorts of embankments, and there's a lot of things to collect. And it's kind of like it plays kind of like a 3D Sonic the Hedgehog a little bit, albeit not exactly your Sonic the Hedgehog, but that kind of speed and that sense of like, okay, I can't go back to get stuff. If I miss something, I'm just going to have to replay the level if I want to get it. That's just pretty much how it goes. It is 90% off at 99 cents. Wait, that's with the soundtrack. It actually costs you more to not get the soundtrack. That is hilarious. Absolutely hilarious. Deus Ex Game of the Year Edition. This is one of the greatest games ever made. It's a shame they have no footage of it. But basically you are a cybernetically enhanced human, and you end up having to decide the fate of the entire world as you are infiltrating, and there's a lot of stealth in this game. Well, there's a lot of choice in this game. You can go in guns blazing if you want to. But this is the first real choices matter type game that I remember playing, and the storyline is incredible. This is one of those games that people always come back to because of how great it really is, and it is 86% off at 97 cents. One of the best. It is. It's one of the best games ever made. A little long in the tooth. It's 24 years old now. The graphics look 24 years old, but I'm telling you, the gameplay is solid, and the story is incredible. So yeah, this is one that you should play at some point in your life, for real. All right, let's see what we have next. We have Diggerman. Diggerman is a bit like the old Boulder Dash type game, only it brings some new things into the mix. I do like a good update on a classic game. So you can dig diagonally left and diagonally right, and those are your two choices, and you're just moving as quick as you can because you have to, and there are hazards at every step along the way. And so you have to get really good at not hesitating when it comes to making it past things that might kill you. And also, there are things that you need. You constantly need to power your headlamp, otherwise you won't be able to see, and that will make playing almost impossible. And so there are just things that you need to keep an eye on as you are digging down that makes the game a decent challenge and quite a bit of fun. I happen to like it a lot. It's 83% off at 84 cents. Up next, we have Ding Dong XL, and this is actually a moment for me to plug the Atom Vision games because they are fantastic. Atom Vision does this thing where they make games that are simple concepts but are very, very cool and well executed. So, Ding Dong, you just have to make it from one side of the screen to the other. Simple enough, right? Well, you'd think so. You'd really think so. It gets insanely hard as it goes along. And so I do love these. It's like an old school arcade game is how it's built, but it has those kind of Geometry Wars kind of graphics, which I enjoy. And yeah, the arcade Score Chaser set, this bundle, which like flip-flop, that must be new. That's one that I don't have. Yeah, released December 10th. That is new. But anyway, they have, okay, so the Score Chaser bundle, let's go into the bundle info, because I have all of these games except for the new one. Orbit XL, this one is very cool because you are orbiting without falling into the black hole. Diamo, I don't remember how this one works. I don't think I played it yet. Bing Bong is like Ding Dong, except it goes horizontal. Righty Tighty XL. Yep. You might be seeing a theme in terms of like different ways of moving and avoiding things and chasing high scores Yeah, the one-button arcade. Yep, these games go back to when gaming was as simple as possible. And this one, Super Bit Blaster XL, I highly recommend because this one is basically Asteroids, but with a ton of improvements and, crazy upgrades and guns and stuff. So all of these games, every single one of them is cheap. Oh, yeah, look, there's the bundle info. It's $5.46. But the individual games are 49 cents, and they are simple but addictive. Simple and very, very fun, with global leaderboards and the works. So I do recommend that you pick yourself up maybe Ding Dong XL, but hey, I don't know, maybe Super Bit Blaster. There are a lot of games in that pack, and there's bound to be something that appeals to you. Downwell. Ooh, another very simple, very well executed concept. Downwell, you're falling down a well, only you have gun shoes, and so you can shoot all of the baddies because, as we know, there are always bad guys when you are falling down a well. Who among us has not fallen down a well only to find that there are bad guys down there? Anyway, it's a very simple concept that is superbly executed, and this is one of the ultimate, pick 'em up, put 'em down type games. You can play it for 10 minutes, you can play it for an hour. It is just a good time, no matter how much time you spend on it, and it's very, very fun. It's, it's one of those easy to learn, hard to master kind of games because the mechanics of it are actually very simple to understand, but in many places hard to execute because it requires a kind of precision that takes practice to get. Anyway, it's 75% off at 74 cents. This one is a nutso bananas nightmare. Dr. Livesey Ramen Death Edition is basically somebody took the there's a Ukrainian, I'm blanking on his name, Ukrainian animator who made this cartoon based off of Treasure Island. He made a bunch of cartoons, and then this cartoon got turned into a meme because of the way that Dr. Livesey walks with his big old swinging shoulders and whatnot. And so somebody turned this into an on-rails shooter, and it is the craziest, most psychedelically weird on-rails shooter that you are ever bound to see. It's kind of hard to describe, even when you're playing it and you're like, yeah, I kind of get what's going on, but how do I tell you? It's one of those. It's a crazy game, a crazy experience, but look, overwhelmingly positive, says everybody who's played it. It is 51% off at 49 cents. Dungeon Siege. Oh yes, this is the Square Enix answer to Diablo. And yeah, this game was so cool when it came out. I know the graphics look kind of cheesy and whatnot now. They are definitely dated, the low poly graphics and whatnot. But I'm telling you, this game's got it where it counts. I played all the way through it earlier this year and enjoyed it quite a bit. Its sequel is also on sale. Dungeon Siege 2 is also on sale at a reasonable price, I think the same price. And Dungeon Siege 3, which I have not played and has mixed reactions, but 1 and 2 are excellent games, great RPGs from back in the day, and 86% off, 97 cents. You can't get Diablo on Steam. Well, not the old school one, not Diablo 1, otherwise I'd be recommending that. But you can get Dungeon Siege, and it is just almost 97% as much fun as Diablo. There's no one who tells you to stay a while and listen. Yeah, but aside from that, it's a pretty solid experience. Everspace. My goodness, this one I cannot believe is under $1. Yeah, with all the games that are normally under $1 that were not under $1 this year, this game I purchased when it was I don't know, I thought I was getting a steal when it was $9.99. I was like, oh, I can't believe it's so cheap. I bought this one because I wanted better combat than I get in No Man's Sky. I love No Man's Sky. I put a bajillion hours into that game. I do recommend that if you are looking for an experiential game that is vast and interesting, No Man's Sky is better than it's ever been, and they just keep making it better and more interesting and more awesome. But this game is, yeah, really cool with the combat, and it does have, you know, exploration and whatnot. It's just not as open as No Man's Sky. But I mean, price per amount of gaming enjoyment, this is a steal. Absolutely. It is 95% off at just 99 cents. So get you some Everspace for sure. Ghost Maze. Not everybody loves this game, but I am a fan. It is Pac-Man with a shotgun. You can get me with, you know, just take a pre-existing game and be like, and now it's got a shotgun, because later on I might be recommending another classic game that has had shotguns added to it, and apparently I'm a sucker for that kind of a thing. But yeah, it's a fun game. There's not a ton of variety here. It's not going to blow your mind with incredibleness, but it is quite fun and very interesting to be playing Pac-Man in a 3D type maze. Although it's not officially Pac-Man because it's not made by Namco, but Namco made Pac-Man, right? My brain is having a problem. Anyway, but Ghost Maze is exactly the Pac-Man shotgun experience that you didn't know you needed, but you absolutely need. 80% off at 79 cents. Ginga Force. Okay, warning. If you buy this one, it will make you cry. And not because it's a particularly emotional game. It is tough. This is a really, really good-looking shooter. And it is incredibly well made. And it is so hard. It is very, very difficult. Punishingly difficult. And yeah, so do not take it on lightly. But if you are the sort of person who enjoys a good bullet hell shooter and wants a challenge, oh, be prepared to be challenged. And this one, yeah, I paid more for this. I know I did. And now it's gotten very cheap. It is 95% off at 99 cents is the Ginga Force. So get you some Ginga Force if you're ready for a challenge. Now, are you going to be the one who finally listens to me about this game? Glorkian Warrior, The Trials of Glork. I know it sounds silly and whatnot, and it is silly, but it's also awesome. This is essentially a Galaxian or Galaga style game that is constantly changing, constantly keeps you on the go, and it is just so much fun. It never takes itself too seriously. It is constantly throwing new mechanics at you, and it's obviously a labor of love. Whoever made this game really, really understands what made all of those great arcade shooters so much fun. It's 80% off at 79 cents, and I'm telling you, I love this game. And I don't know if I've ever gotten anybody to buy a copy. And I've been saying for years, it's super fun. Is this going to be the year that somebody listens to me and is like, oh my god, it is actually fun? Grab Lab. Here's another, yeah, that Forever Entertainment, they go cheap, and they've got some decent games. Anyway, Grab Lab is a simple concept that turns into an increasingly difficult puzzler. So basically, it's a grappling hook platform puzzler that gets insanely nutty, and it's got a ton of characters and unlockables, and it's a very, very satisfying. I don't love a lot of puzzlers. I'm just going to be honest with you. There's not a ton of puzzlers that I care about, but I care about this one because it just appeals to me graphically, and the gameplay is solid, and anytime you die, you know it's your fault because the game is nothing if not fair, and the level design gets pretty darn interesting the later in the game you go. Yeah, if you make it to level 80, you're going to be shooting through pipes and whatnot. Don't go through this one, you'll die. Anyway, 83% off at 84 cents. I do enjoy me some Grab Lab. Horde of Plenty. This is an arena type shooter that has some really cool things. I love this level with the moving walls because then you get to use them to escape, but also to create barriers and to change the size and shape of the room that you are shooting in. That just makes it very fun and very frantic. It's a solid twin sticky arena type shooter, and I love those type of games to begin with, but this one brings in some cool gameplay elements that I have not seen elsewhere, and that just makes it a whole lot of fun. It's very well made, this game, and it's surprising when you find games that are really well made at this price point, and this is one of them. It's 86% off at 69 cents. Iron Fisticle. I've already recommended Iron Cryptical. The big benefit of Iron Cryptical is that you can play 4-player. I believe you can play 2-player on this one. But Iron Fisticle is a twin sticky arena type shooter. This one more top-downsy. It plays a lot like Robotron, and everything is trying to kill you all the time. It's kind of a cross between Robotron and Gauntlet with a number of insane power-ups, and it just keeps things frantic and keeps things fresh, and it is just level after level of Frankenstein shooting mayhem. It's not always Frankenstein's monster. There are boss battles. There are all kinds of different enemies that you are going to face off against, and it is super much fun. I enjoy this game quite a bit. Anyway, Iron Fisticle is 89% off at 98 cents. Locosoccer 2. Actually, let's do Locosoccer Classic first. This is soccer as you have never seen it. This is soccer, except all the players are stupid and all the physics are broken. But it's very fun to play because it's an emphasis on fun, and the gameplay gets frantic. It's like playing foosball, you know, against people who are not good at foosball, so you're just spinning the rods and, you know, not really knowing what you're doing. Yeah, kind of like that, but with soccer. And the fact that your dudes just spin and spin, it's crazy. This is a game where, you know, normally when you tell someone like, oh, you're going to be fighting the controls the whole time, well, that's kind of the point of this game, and it's kind of what makes it so much fun. It really is fun, and it's a great multiplayer experience. Absolutely great multiplayer experience. And this is the classic version, is 51% off at 49 cents. But don't worry, if you were thrown by how outdated those graphics look, well, there's Locosoccer 2, which be prepared for graphical updates. Yeah, be prepared for an altogether new experience of Locosoccer, because this one has this guy in it. Show me gameplay, dude. I hate it when games don't show you the gameplay. Oh, yes. You got to get the boxy head. And maybe it will. Okay, here we go. Yeah, this is the gameplay. So things get even more frantic and stupid and ridiculous, and there are now like power-ups and stuff, and you know, the ball breaks physics and whatnot in ways that will remind you a little bit of NES World Cup, one of the greatest and most underrated soccer games of all time. Anyway, and this one is really fun to play with multiplayer. So yeah, if you enjoyed the Locosoccer Classic, Locosoccer 2 even more so, 80% off at 59 cents. There you go. Muse Dash. Muse Dash is a game that I got for my kids. Well, I got to see if my kids would like it, and then I was trying to decide whether or not there was too much anime girl nonsense in here, whether it was appropriate for children, because you can see some things there that might not be exactly, I don't know. But basically, this is a rhythm auto runner, essentially, pretty much. That's kind of the vibe. But you get to supply your own music, which makes it so that you are the one deciding what we are bumping to, and that determines how the level plays out, and it makes it a lot easier that you get to decide what the music is. So yeah, there you go. An interesting concept, and lots of anime girls and plenty of fan service, just like you like, because that's what it is. You all keep begging me, more games with fan service, I hear you say. Anyway, Muse Dash is 70% off at 89 cents. Out There Somewhere. This one I explain as it's kind of like Portal, but in 2D. Basically, it's that kind of a puzzle platformer, but instead of a portal gun, this is a teleportation gun. Yeah, and it starts out side-scrolling on the shooting, which is weird, because then the entire rest of the game pretty much is just a teleport gun, and there are different barriers, and eventually you are going to have to do some very complicated shooting and jumping while shooting and falling while, you know, and weird, like, figuring out how momentum will be preserved from jump to jump, from place to place. It's a really interesting puzzle platformer. It is 90% off at 99 cents. Over 9,000 zombies. Can you handle that many zombies? This one is a really fun wave-based top-down shooter in which you get to build up your fortifications before the zombies come. So there's a little bit of tower defense and a little bit of top-down shooter, and you know, ammo really matters in this game, so you really have to watch your ammo. You really have to pick up your various ammo types as you are making your way through, and then you have to be smart about, you know, who you shoot, with what, and when, and also be doing it while everything is trying to kill you. So it's a lot of fun. It is very, very frantic, very fun, and it has online multiplayer. I have played this online with a fan of the channel way back in the early days of the channel. Somebody was like, do you want to play it? And we did, and it was fun. 72% off at 55 cents, or a 2-pack for 83 cents. That's a pretty good deal. Buy one for a friend, play it together online. It's a fun game. Project Snaqe. See, this is another, a lot of the things I like in this price point are when somebody takes a pre-existing game idea that was a good game idea to begin with, and then they just improve upon it. And this one is obviously Snaqe, the way that you played it on your Nokia phone. I know what words are. It's only my job. Anyway, but this is a really cool, really fun game that brings a lot of new things to the mix in terms of upgrades and different types of things that you are doing while you are snaking around, because obviously you are mining all sorts of minerals and killing all sorts of baddies, and you're switching between the drill bit on the front and the gun on the front, and so there's a decent amount of strategizing and whatnot. It makes the game very interesting and a whole lot more challenging and a whole lot more going on than just your standard Snaqe game. And it looks really good too. I like it. It's 70% off at 59 cents. Reigns. Ooh, now we're talking. This game, the king is dead, long live the king. Yes, you get to play the ruler of a kingdom, and you get to make choices, and every choice you make, watch. So it'll tell you that it's going to impact these things. You have religion, you have the citizens, you have the military, you have the economy. And if any one of these things gets too strong or too weak, you want to keep everything kind of in the middle, but you don't know how it's going to influence each of these things. It might be major negatives here and slight positives here, or vice versa, or any combination. So you kind of have to guess what the impact on these things is going to be and make choices for your kingdom that you think will keep you in power. But eventually you will die, and it will be hilarious. So that is exactly the sort of thing that I enjoy. This game reminds me of my older brother quite a bit. He would have loved this game, absolutely. Anyway, I love it. It is so much fun. Simple concept, excellent execution. There's also other versions of this game, because there's a Game of Thrones Reigns, there's a Reigns, Reigns Three Kingdoms, there's a princess one where you play as a princess trying to pick a suitor. Anyway, 67% off at 98 cents, and I've had a lot of fun with that game. Road Bustle. Oh, here we go. This is, you know, Frogger or Crossy Road, whichever appeals to you more, only you've got a jetpack, and sometimes a scooter, and sometimes a mail truck, and some, like, other things. So it takes the classic formula of, you know, crossing the road of Frogger, which was then updated in Crossy Road, and then is updated again here. And it's a great update because, unlike Crossy Road and all mobile gaming, which I largely hate, because it's just platforms for commercials and microtransactions now. And this is not that. This is just the game. You can just have fun with it. I have a lot of fun with it. It's 92% off at 79 cents. Shing. Shing is the sound that your sword makes when you pull it from its scabbard. And Shing is the sound that you're going to make a lot in this game because, yeah, it is a classic hack and slashy type of game. And a little bit like Bladed Fury, if you remember that game. That's another one that I enjoy quite a bit that doesn't get enough love. But there are multiple different characters in this game. There's a decently interesting story, and more than anything, the hack and slash gameplay is solid. Oh, and there's a bit of a sense of humor as well, which just makes things fun. And so, yeah, this is what the actual gameplay looks like. It is a decent hack and slasher if you're looking for such a thing. It is a solid game that you can pour some hack and slashy time into, and so I recommend that you do if you enjoy this kind of game and you need one on the cheap. It's 95% off at 99 cents. Shotgun Legend. Oh, here we go. Yep. This is essentially Legend of Zelda with a shotgun. It's a simple concept, and it's reasonably well executed. Is this as good as the original Legend of Zelda? No. Is it fun and interesting to play? Yes, absolutely. It definitely is. So, yeah, it's not going to be the most with two-player cooperative play. Anyway, it's not going to be the most mind-blowing Zelda experience you've ever had, but it is fun and interesting. 51% off at 49 cents. Steamworld Dig. How did you get down here? This is the original Mamma Jamma. Yeah, this is the original Metroidvania meets Boulder Dash, and these games are just so cool and so well made. And so here we are years after this came out. When did this come out? Let me find out. 2013. So yeah, it's 11 years later, and still great game. Very interesting, very fun. Still a lot to explore and do in the world of the Steamworld Dig. And it is, like I say, it's a Metroidvania, so it gets interesting, and there's a lot to explore and a lot to do and a lot of upgrades to be made as you go through the game. Anyway, this one, 91% off, 89 cents. I recommend pretty much all the Steamworld games because they're fantastic. Streets of Fury EX. This one, oh my god. When I played this game for the first time, I was like, oh, this is such a great idea. So basically, the developer put themselves or their friends into the game because this is, a full motion video captured and then turned into moves in a side-scrolling beat-em-up. So this is, Streets of Rage, but with like real live people doing all of the actions, and it makes it cheesy and fun and ridiculous in ways that are nothing but excellent and interesting and good. And as soon as I started this game, I was like, oh, this is such a good idea. And it is. It is a great idea. It's well executed, and I like it. It is 90% off at 99 cents. Oh, look, he and I don't disagree on everything. That's right. We do agree on some things. Super Dungeon Boy, probably not. But Super Dungeon Boy, very much like 8-Bit Boy, this one is, it is a battle game. Hold up. Let me remind myself. This one is, dungeon exploration, and it is, old schoolish, brings in those old schoolish platforming elements. It is decently, the little guy with his yelling and his weird claw-like hands keeps throwing me. But it is a fun retro-styled game and a decent dungeon crawler. So if you like retro style and you like a dungeon crawler, 51% off at 49 cents. Super Shooter. Oh, look, Dan, it's your other game. Yeah. So Dan, who is the developer behind the By Dan Dan's games, who made the game La Sombra and also made this one, he is a viewer of the channel, and he sent me these games to review, and I really enjoyed them. This one is kind of like Portal. It is an action puzzle platformer with a rocket jump mechanic, rocket jump and electricity. So instead of shooting portals, you are activating buttons and switches and circuits and things, all while rocket jumping backwards over large chasms and all of that. I'm not great at it, but it is a fun game and well made. Good on you, Dan. It's 70% off at 89 cents. Tetropunk. This might just be too personal a favorite for anyone to care about, but this is just Tetris, but it's steampunky because you got the Nixie tubes and whatnot, and there's like electro swing playing in the background as you play this game. It's a little bit cheesy, but it's also effective at what it is. It's a decent Tetris game. Where's my brain? Fried after many videos, and once I get done editing this one, my brain will be completely gone. But anyway, this is Tetris, and Tetris is good. And apparently there's those little touch me things which indicate that this was once a mobile game, probably made for the iPad when the iPad was new, but it still plays incredibly well on a PC, and I've had a decent amount of fun with it. So if you don't have a Tetris game in your collection, it's a decent one. I happen to like it. My wife likes it as well. We put some hours into this game. even though it, like, is it the best Tetris you're going to find? No. Does it have some charm and character? Yeah, sure does. Anyway, 90% off at 49 cents. Ubermosh. Ooh, here you go. You're going to get 9 games. 9 games for the price of 49 cents. And these games, the Ubermosh games, it's kind of like Akane, where it's an arena shooter and everybody's coming after you, everybody's trying to kill you, and you have swords and guns. And the various games, I need to do a whole rundown of what makes, Ubermosh Black different from Ubermosh 7 or whatever. But there are many Ubermosh games in this bundle, and they are all different iterations of the same kind of concept. I'm assuming different weapons and different approaches in each of these. Anyway, 90% off at 49 cents for 9 games. That's kind of impressive. The Vagrant. Oh, this is one I'm always like, man, how did this get way down here? This is an action RPG that hails from the PS3 era, and this is fan servicey like nobody's business. I've said it once, I'll say it again. There are no flat-chested women in this game. And of the non-flat-chested women, none of them enjoy covering up very much. And so you're just going to see NPCs standing around with their boobs half out. That's pretty much how that's going to go. But underneath it all, it is an excellent action RPG, hack and slashy type business that is very fun to play. It is very well made. And, decent story. I wouldn't say incredible story, but decent story. It's fun to play. It's a fun game, and it surprises me that it gets so cheap. It is 80% off at 79 cents. And last but not least, we have one that might just be for me. I might be the only person who thinks this game is fun, but I do. It's Zombies on a Plane. And Zombies on a Plane is exactly that. It's zombies, and they're on a plane. And there are different game modes. You can play, shooting the zombies from inside the plane, which is fun and creepy and awesome. Or you can play shooting the zombies off of the outside of the plane. Or you can fly the dang plane and try and shake the zombies off as they are trying to eat and or destroy the plane. Who knows why zombies enjoy the taste of a rudder so much? I don't know why, but they do. Everybody knows zombies be eating them rudders right and left. Anyway, it's just dumb fun. If you think of it like that, if you're like, don't think of it as anything other than, a cheesy popcorn flick, and you're on the right track. 85% off at 74 cents, and I like it. I don't know if y'all do. But anyway, that is it, people. That is all the videos. That is all I have to offer this year. I know that it's a little bit of a down year, but that's hilarious to think about given the number of games that I have suggested. Oh, it's a little bit of a down year. Here's several hours of content to sort through. Good luck. Anyway, shout out to those of you who made it all the way to the end, as always. And hey, if you enjoy the videos, I've been getting more subscribers. The channel's doing well. I never expected it to do as well as it's doing. It's been a while, but it's, we're finally hitting thresholds of maybe being monetized at some point. So that's exciting. So if you want to help with that, hop on board. I'd surely appreciate it. And if not, hey, I hope you found games that you enjoy. That's the whole reason I'm here. Anyway, people, thank you for being here for these ones. I will see you in the next one. Okay, bye.